Hello and welcome to Perspectives. These are special sittings for Ramadan, in an effort, a weak effort, a humble effort, to understand what my faith is and how I can take full advantage from what I have inherited. I am a Muslim, alhamdulillah, because of my inheritance. I'm a Muslim because of my society. I'm a Muslim because I was told I'm a Muslim. But am I a Muslim because I believe it? I understand it? Have I gone into the depths of my religion? So this effort to go deep into my own soul, to go deep into the meanings of Islam, to understand how I can take full advantage from this great, magnificent religion. A religion which is a complete religion, the last religion. If I have not taken full advantage, if I have not taken full gain from this phenomenal inheritance that I have, then I would have failed terribly. So this effort, these sittings, to find out more and more about Islam, its principles and its philosophy. We are in the month of Ramadan, a month of blessings, a month of great happenings, a month of forgiveness, a month of acquisitions, a month of learning. But if we are taking full advantage from it, then why, as a society, we suffer so much? When Allah Ta'ala promises to give us without bounds in this month, why are hands empty? What am I as an individual, or we as a collective, doing wrong that we're failing to take full advantage from the month of Ramadan? And that is today's discussion. My guests on my right, an honor, Mufti Irshad Ahmed Aijaz, who is an educationist and also associated with the bank. Mufti, thank you very much for taking the time out. On my left, again, a great honor, Dr. S.M. Hasan Rizvi Sahab. He's the Imam of Mehfil Shaykh Hasan. He's the president of Academy of Quranic Studies and author of various books, including Khulasat al-Tafasir, with apology. Irshad, thank you very much for taking time out. I'd like to start with you, Sahab. We spend endless hours in prayer and worship. And in Ramadan, the hours multiply many folds. There are Tarawih, there people are fasting. Yet we see chaos in our life. Yet we see disturbances in our life, in our society. What are we doing wrong? And what can I do right to take maximum advantage, maximum gain from this month? So,
first of all, God, when ordered for the fasting, Ramadan, He explained the reason, the objective. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyamu kama kutiba alal ladzina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. That is, this fasting has been ordained so that you may be capable of guarding yourself against the evil. Taqwa. And to be dutiful to God. Sense of duty and sense of guarding yourself against the evil. These are the two basic philosophies of this fasting. If you are not acquiring these two qualities, that means this is a practice without any meaning, useless.
Just a ritual.
The Prophet himself said that many people who fast during Ramadan, they don't acquire anything except fasting. Faqa. Not eating, not drinking. This is not the purpose. If this had been the purpose, God has explained that this is the purpose, that you don't eat and don't drink. This is not the objective. Objective is لَأَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. How much you are capable of guarding yourself against the evil in this month. How much you have developed your capability, your ability of guarding yourself, and how much you are becoming dutiful to God.
The practice would help you the rest of the 11 months as well. So this is like a refresher course. But when you say, sir, the sense of duty and sense of guarding against evil, I'd like you to elaborate more. And also, if you'd like to add something to that, and going forward, when you say sense of duty, when you say sense of guarding against evil, how am I to guard myself against evil? How am I to save myself from maybe becoming evil? How do I do it?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, the month of Ramadan is basically the training or a seasonal time for every Muslim. How can I protect myself from evil things, from those things which have been declared sin by Islam, which have not been recommended by Islam? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a duty, and if we start from the morning, we will continue the whole day with fasting. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered this thing not only for Muslims, earlier nations also. And during the whole day, when I am with fast, Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, everyone who has fast is not permitted to fight, to say something wrong. He must keep himself away from every sin. Secondly, after you break your fast at Maghrib, after that you will have very good night. How? You start praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through prayers and some additional prayers, which is Taraweeh. So your whole day, if you start performing the duties in Ramzan, your whole day, you will protect yourself from sin. But what is the meaning of that? As Allah Masab has said, it does not mean you keep yourself away from eating foods and just going to masjid and performing these things. Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said in ahadith and in Quran, if you find, lot of people, they fast, but they will not get any benefit, any reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they continue in some other sinful activities, some other impermissible activities, prohibited activities. For example, if a trader starts trading something with deceit, with fraud, and similarly, someone who has fast but they fight, they start fighting, they start, some other sinful activities in a society.
Fraud, cheating,
fighting, and then sings a lot of negative things. So all these activities become useless. Whole day you have no food, but you will not get any reward. You will start, for example, if I remember one person has asked me, when I was delivering the sermon in a masjid, he asked me, someone has given me a check for payment. And when I presented my check into my account, the check has been bounced. When I contacted this person, he was in itikaf. When I went to him and asked him why you have presented this bogus check to me, he said, please don't talk worldly matters to me because I am in itikaf. So basically, the teaching of Islam, the teaching of this religion is basically devotion and nearness to God. And nearness to God cannot be obtained by symbolic things. You have to do something with real sense, with real spirit, with real truth. It does not mean if you perform Taraweeh, if you fast, if you give something in way of Allah, but your earning is haram, your other sinful activities are there, your encroachment is there,
or you're just waiting for Ramadan to be over so you can get back to dirty business.
Yes. So this is not the theory of Islam. If someone is taking a bribing and someone has encroachment, someone has impermissible income, and then he spend in way of Allah or goes for Umrah, he will not get any reward. This is basically the meaning of taqwa, which means whenever you perform anything for pleasing of God, just start thinking on this particular thing, if you are pleasing the God, or if you are pretending yourself, if you are a practicing Muslim. So if you are a lot of people in this time, I have seen a lot of people, they give bogus checks, they do not pay timely salaries, and they went and they go for Umrah in Ramzan, and say they pretend that if they are very good Muslim, they spend a lot of money to please Allah. But these are not the ways. So basically, Islam has a very, very simple way of life. If you want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you start with fasting in Ramzan, with Taraweeh, but with these, with the spirit of taqwa.
What you mentioned are really just your social relationship ethics, your social ethic. Unfortunately, that is one thing we completely disregard. Social ethic is, it's like, we're Muslims, we don't have to be ethical socially, unfortunately. So what would you say to people who are careless in the social relationships, in the social etiquette, in the social ethic, yet they feel that they have taken advantage from Ramadan because they did one or two umrahs, they spent the last Ashura in the Khana Kaaba, they've done all their prayers and Taraweeh, and say, I'm doing good. But the social ethic, they cannot be punctual, they can't keep time, they make commitments they don't keep, they lie, they cheat, they misbehave with their parents. what would you say to them?
Mufti Sahib has said that actually the purpose is to acquire taqwa. What is taqwa? In the words of Quran. Quran says, Edalu huwa aqrabu lit-taqwa. Be just. This is taqwa. What does it mean, the just? Being just? Being just means you have to pay dues of each and every one. Dues.
Not just financial dues, and
every
kind of dues.
Every kind. This is justice. What you have to pay as a businessman to your partner, you must pay. Your servant, you have to pay salary. This is not allowed that you are not paying salary and you are going to Umrah. This is against adl, against justice, against taqwa. Taqwa means to pay dues, each and every kind of dues to everyone. Your parents, your wife, your children, your friends, your partners, your subordinates, everyone.
And be it dues of money, be it dues of love, be it dues of kindness, everything is a due.
Everything. This is taqwa.
So when you say justice, it's not just money. It's
not money. One of the factors. But suppose you have a children, you must give love to them, attention towards them. Your wife, your parents, they want attention, they want respect, they need your duty, this is their right. This is justice. Like your friends, your servants, you pay dues and salary in time to them. This is justice. If you are not doing just, then this is not taqwa. Having prayers and having umrah, this is not taqwa. Edalu, the word of Quran. Edalu huwa aqrabu lit-taqwa. One word. God has one word for the taqwa in Quran. Edalu. Be just to everyone. Pay dues to everyone. This is social. So what is social life? Social life comes with the duties that you pay. This organizes the social life. If you are not paying dues to everyone, social life will be disturbed. Because social life based on adl, justice. So adl means taqwa.
Basically, the human society. If you look at the Islamic society, there are 4 types of relations. First, relation between man and God, which we call it worship. If you look at the concept of worship, it covers a lot of things. Man to God relation. Secondly, social relation. Thirdly, monetary relation, economic relations. And fourthly, the political, administrative relations. Okay? Meaning of adl is to balance between all these relations. If you spend all of your time in mosque, it does not mean you are a good Muslim. And if you are serving the humanity, you are very good social worker, very good human rights activist, but you are not paying attention to the worship, to relation of God and a man, you are not a perfect Muslim. So the perfect Muslim is the person who balances between all these relations. He pays attention to social relations, economic relations, all dues, whether as an employer, as an employee, as a trader, as a partner. For example, in a very common habit in a society, that we do not pay timely utility bills. We normally, lot of people have asked me, because the tax rate is high, is it permissible for us to steal electricity or gas? So I asked how. They say basically through this we can balance between high tax and this. So I said this is a very, very common proverb in Urdu. Hira chor hota hai, hire kao. So this is not permissible in Islam. So balancing between human relations, monetary relation, and very important relation we call political or administrative relation. Political administrative relation means the political system and the administrative system which is imposed by the government for the better administration of the society. We generally do not care about these things. So balancing all these things between is required by Islam. And taqwa means you balance, you maintain adl in all these relations. And after adl is the concept of ihsan. In Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan. Ihsan means after completion of your duties, if you want to do something extra, so the sky is limit. Limit is the sky. You can do a lot of things. But after you pray 5 prayers, then you have been allowed to offer nafil. It is not permitted for you not to offer Fajr, Zuhr, Asr, but you start offering 20 and 50 nafil at the time of Isha. This is not the substitute of duties. So similarly, if you take bribe and spend in charity, in the way of Allah, it doesn't work. The concept of Sultana Daku, it doesn't work here. So this is the basic concept of Islam. It is a very famous hadith. Some companion of Holy Prophet ﷺ contacted him and asked, Ya Rasulullah, we do not want to engage ourselves in worldly affairs. We do not want to marry someone else. I do not want to do business. And always I want to keep fasting and keep myself away from this worldly matter. So Holy Prophet ﷺ forbade them and said, I fast, I keep fast, and I break fast, and I married. And said very famous hadith, Man raghiba an sunnati falaysa minni. Those who do not want to follow me, they do not have any relation with me. So what is the meaning of this? The balancing between all these things. So basically,
he did not give up the world for prayer. He had his time for prayer and his time for the world.
Yes, for prayer, in the very
for
famous
family,
hadith,
for friends.
There is a right of your body on yourself. Everyone has right on you. So balancing between these rights. This is very important, the lesson from Ramzan Kareem. Tattaqoon. So that to obtain taqwa. So this is the meaning of taqwa. It does not mean you spend a lot of time in the masjid and you offer a lot of prayer, you finish 10 or multiple 20 Quran Kareem, but you have to keep the balance. Keep the balance, but your other activities or economic and other social activities are not good. So it does not mean work.
We know all these things. These things we talk about every year on television, radio. We've been hearing them since we were children. What has gone wrong with my upbringing, and I speak for myself, that I hear all this, I know all this, I watch all, but I take no effect. Why is my heart sealed? Why are my eyes closed? I am speaking only for myself. I speak for no one else. Why do these great things, simple things, don't affect me?
Actually, as we were discussing regarding the word taqwa, the basic meaning of the taqwa is to be conscious of God. To be conscious of God. That you must be conscious that you are, every time you are under the watch of Allah the Almighty. He knows each and everything what you are doing. Every time. Consciousness. This consciousness is lacking. We are offering prayers, we are offering umrah, we are offering everything, but we don't create that consciousness. Although for the prayer God says himself, Aqim as-salat al-zikri. Establish prayers to remember me. Remembrance, consciousness. This is the philosophy of prayer. This is the philosophy of taqwa. Because we are not conscious. We forget. When we are doing business, we are not at all conscious that we are under the watch of God. God is knowing everything what I am doing, fraud, all these malpractices I am doing. God is looking at me. This is as for the Prophet said in respect of prayers, he says that when you offer prayer, you must at least know that you are under the watch of God. God is looking at you at that time. This is consciousness. If you develop this consciousness, then it will be totally different. Our attitude. The example is given in Quran of Joseph, Hazrat Yusuf. Zulaikha offered him, but he refused. At that time, God says, if he had not been conscious of the proof of my proof, he would have committed the sin. That consciousness actually is lacking, which is the spirit of the prayer and the fast.
Which is the fundamental spirit of, and I'm going to say Muslim, but I need to take a short break. When I come back, I'd like to deflect it in a different direction. All the things we talk about, regretfully, the whole world understands them and practices them. And unfortunately, the flag bearers of the best religion in the world, the Muslims today, and please, no offense, I'm making a general statement, we seem to have forgotten that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching us. Everybody else seems to remember that. They don't need a policeman. They don't need law enforcement. They obey laws. If you ask one of us, why do you do that? Because there's no law. Every day, every night you will watch it on TV. People will be arguing, oh, you go to Dubai and everything is okay, but things are okay here because there is police and law enforcement. Here there is no law enforcement. And I keep saying, why do you need law enforcement? Why don't you enforce it upon yourselves when you know Allah Ta'ala is watching you? So what you just said, I would like to take it in that direction. Why and how will I come to remember beyond the 30 days that Allah Ta'ala is watching me? I don't need a policeman to beat me on the street. I don't need to go to jail. I've got God to take care of it for me. So I need to answer that question. Let's take a short break.
All they are doing just like a practice, nothing meaning.
Thanks for staying with us. We're watching Perspectives. I would like to go into different directions slightly. We insist that a law has to be enforced upon us. Night after night on television, you will hear examples of people saying if you go to Dubai, law is enforced. My question, when I fast, there is no law enforcement. I can eat from a fridge, I don't. Because I believe there is a God and He's watching me. When I'm running a red light, when I'm misbehaving with my mother, when I'm beating my wife, when I'm speaking behind someone's back, I'm making false accusations, I'm spreading rumors, I'm lying, I'm cheating, I completely forget there is a God. And I also conveniently say, oh, God will forgive me. Is that a fair mindset?
Yes, you are joking God. You are misbehaving God. If you are saying that everything which is sinful, which is totally against the will of God, you are doing, all practices. And then again you say that God will forgive me. This is a joke. You are playing with the God. This is not the behavior you can do with your officer. Can your officer accept this behavior? You are disobeying him, and then you say, please
sorry.
Not at all. You can't play with this way with your boss. How you can play it with the great boss, Allah the Almighty? Actually, these people are only on the lips, they speak of God and Allah and all taqwa and everything. As far as their heart is concerned, they totally have no consciousness, have no fear, have no idea all the time that they are doing malpractices which are totally against the will of God, and they are making angry with their activities to God and to Prophet, whom they take names, these high names with very so respectfully, but they don't think that what Prophet said, what Prophet did, what he ordained, what he wanted to us. Not at all. Only on the lips they are talking of God and Prophet and everything. This is actually misusing of religion, misusing of these words.
Okay, sir. Misusing is one thing. I want to take it into an even more complicated direction. I would like both of you to comment. I've been doing business for about 30 years. And I remember I had these German and Japanese counterparts back in the 80s. And I used to very regularly say, Inshallah, Alhamdulillah. And they used to respect that. Then there came a time when every time somebody said Inshallah, they used to laugh. I'm like, well, Inshallah basically means never, right? So we have not just taken advantage or misused the religion, people like me have given the religion a bad name. What is my punishment for that? That I have actually...
If you read the third verse from Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. There are two things. First is Iman and second is Yaqeen. For the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala required firm belief. For other things, belief. For other things, for Quran, for Risalat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. But for Day of Judgment, this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. Firm belief. Like I'm sure that there would be sunset or sunrise tomorrow as today. So basically, when the firm belief in the Day of Judgment weakens, these things started. I know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala watching everything, but still I am doing something wrong.
Because that is so far away.
Because I feel that something today is better than something tomorrow. And let us see. Allah
judgment is too far away.
Too far. And another thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Rahim. He like forgiveness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in Quran, Nabbi ibadi anni ana al-ghafurur rahim. Inform my servants that I am the forgiver and I am merciful. But wa anna azabi huwa al-azabul alim. I have very strong punishment also.
He's also Jabbar and Qahar.
Jabbar. So basically, whenever we see these things, a person who is offering prayer, but he is involved in encroachments, in bribing, in wrong acquisitions, we see how it happens, how it can happen to a person who is doing something wrong and similarly doing something right. If there is an exchange or a break-even between both things, so basically the firm belief in Day of Judgment is weak. So whenever we have this weak belief in Day of Judgment, we start doing these wrong things. Basically, this is the reason. And secondly, our civic sense, our sense for obeying of law is entirely different. A person who is crossing red light on signal, a person who is violating the law of land, he does not think a single time. I think if I say very conservatively, 95% of the people do not think the violation of law of land is a sin according to Islam. Because every law that is made by lawmakers for the greater benefit of the society, it is enforceable by law and also by Sharia also. So violating of this law, we do not consider it a sin. We think this is the worldly things. This is a violation of law. It has nothing to do with sin and with the wrong things of Islam. So this concept basically has to be removed. So when we respect fasting, when we do not eat anything the whole day, even openly or secretly, similarly we have to be conscious about the obeying of the law of land.
So my problem, and I really want to understand this. The practices of Islam make us better people. We clean ourselves 5 times. We clean. You're going to the mosque, you're praying, or even if you're praying at home, you're doing clean. Safai Nisman. Cleanliness is half my faith. And cleanliness, I don't think is just physical cleanliness, it's also cleanliness of the spirit.
This is the basic.
Now, I'm giving you just my example. May God forgive me, not to say that I'm any better, but I'm just giving an example to understand something. The other day, there was this road which was blocked because of some road works. And one side was blocked, so obviously the traffic was going on the other side. I think it was perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. So I also reached that point, and for about 30 seconds I kept standing. Do I go there or not? So I put my hazards on and tried to go on that side, but suddenly I felt very dirty. I'm like, what am I doing? And my wife was sitting next to me. She said, what's wrong? I said, I'm just feeling very dirty. How can I do this? So I went around the whole thing, and the reason I'm invoking this is, when we say cleanliness of the soul, why don't I feel dirty when I do something wrong? Why don't I feel uncomfortable? How can I do this? I'm about to go and ask God, God give me a Mercedes, God give me a truck, and God give me business, and God give me money, God give me health. But deep down I know that the moment I'm done with this God give me, I'm going to go and break 25 laws. So why have I forgotten? Forget the day of judgment, that is unseen. I want you to give me something. Mufti Sahib, give me a watch. Mufti Sahib, give me your cap. Mufti, give me a shirt. But deep down, I'm making dirty pictures of Mufti Sahib. Why don't I feel odd doing that? So I want both of you to answer this question. Is that first?
I think the sense of to be beautiful and sense of being presented before God, day of judgment, must be clear. Otherwise, nothing can be expected. Real virtue cannot be affected. This is the fundamental. Unless you don't know the consequences of your actions, ultimate consequences, ultimate results. Man yamal misqala zarratin khairan yara. How strength has been spent on this word. Man yamal misqala zarratin. Weight of a zarra,
a grain of sand,
will be shown to everyone. If he is doing good, he is doing bad. This is the consequences of the actions are always must remain in our consciousness, our mind.
Absolute focus.
That is me. Otherwise, you can't acquire it.
But sir, why? I want to understand why in our society we don't have that focus. Why are we so distracted? Let's talk about India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, subcontinent. Why are we so distracted?
I think, as far as the schools and colleges and universities are concerned, mostly we are coming out from these institutions. There I don't think that the students have been taught in this way. Their consciousness, their awakening, I think, is not addressed properly. Most of them are getting worldly gains, temporary benefits. All emphasis are being given to this level. As far as colleges is concerned, you can find in the behavior of the students.
Adding to Lama Sahib. Basically, if you look at the fundamental problem in our system, I feel the fundamental problem is we are focusing on education. Obviously, we did not achieve the target. But just look at the history of subcontinent 100 years back. Probably they are not that much educated, but they are trained. There is a much difference between education and training. If you are educating someone and you are not training, you're providing him a training, what is right, what is wrong, this feeling of dirtiness comes from this particular conducive environment. If you have provided this environment to a child, obviously he would develop himself with this feeling of every time, whenever he commits any small wrong thing, he will feel dirty. Even if there is no concept of God. For example, if you look at those people who are not believers, the concept of God, even the concept of God is not established there in these societies. But still, they perform these things. They do not do wrong things because they are training. They have been trained. They have been developed this way. Feeling of right and wrong is from the start. When a father teaches his son of 10 years or 12 years or 15 years, if you do not find this way, better go this way. If you did not pay the fare in your minibus, you have done very good job. So what is this? If a child traveling in minibus, he managed not to paying the fare. So what is the duty of his father? Ask him, you have done something wrong. You have done something wrong. So that next time he will feel dirty. So basically this is, I think, the fundamental problem. If you look at the corruption in Pakistan, those who are educated, they have done a lot of corruption. Because I think there is no training, proper training, they have not been brought up in a conducive environment for even without the focusing on the day of judgment, even in general common human sense of right and wrong. They have not been provided. Whenever they do these kind of wrong things, they have been classified as smart people. Who is the smart people in our society? Who can break the law in sophisticated way? Who can manage
The more intelligent the crime, the more respected you are.
He's a smart guy. And those who are stopping on red lights, they are who are they?
Idiots.
They are idiots. They are a stupid person. The person who is following the law. So this is basically the thinking, the mentality. We have to change this mentality. Unless if you teach here the concept of God, the concept of judgment, but the mentality is there, everyone will see. Everyone will say, okay, fine, let us see. We will have a deal with God. Nauzubillah. But they develop this mentality. We will have a deal.
Okay. So let me complicate it slightly more, and I have to be careful. I don't want to make enemies. Yes, parents have failed. Yes, the schools have failed. But so many ulama, so many scholars on television every day, they're talking about endless things. I think in Ramadan there'll be about 30 channels with 60, 70, 80 scholars sitting and having these conversations. Millions of people watch them. I don't hear anyone sitting and saying that it's okay what you look like, it's okay what you do in private lives, improve your social. I don't see any shows on social conduct. I do not see any discussion. I don't see any mosques doing, khutbah. I don't see any discussions on social conduct, social behavior.
I differ. I think it's not the case. In khutbah of Juma, those learned ulamas, they mostly discuss social duties, obligations.
Sure, how many of them? What percentage actually does it?
After all, it's not that much majority, but those who are actually learned people.
Well,
there are two kinds of ulama. There are two kinds of ulama.
But I have no way of deciding who's learned and who's not. I just go to a mosque and listen to a man telling me things.
I think our focus should be on some development of civic sense because in our
Because that's where we really
being
losing out.
Sometimes I'm talking about myself. Sometimes I feel I'm living not in a society, human society, but I feel in animal society because when I drive, someone find a way in front of my car, he just moves his car from here. So obviously you are right up to some extent. I agree with the Lama Sahib. There are some ulama, they pay attention and they teach their listeners to follow the law, to create a social environment, conducive environment.
And with respect, may I say something? As you said, the people who obey law are considered stupid. Unfortunately, the ulama who are actually saying the right things, I think we would not listen to them. They will not get airtime. Or you're boring. You're not entertaining enough. Am I right, sir?
There should be some focus.
So how do you think we started from how to take best advantage from Ramadan? How, in the absence, in the given what the society is, how an individual like me can now, this Ramadan, take best advantage? What should I do? What should I learn? What should I spend that I take best advantage?
From fasting, we can develop God consciousness very easily.
Please.
Because all the time you are conscious that I'm fasting. This is a month of Ramadan. Every Muslim.
Absolutely.
Even you go to the market, those who are selling fruits, even they are say that this is a month of Ramadan. Don't tell lies. A common man is conscious of it. This consciousness should be developed, should be exercised.
And what should be my actions that will give me best advantage from it?
The Prophet himself said in that khutbah, which he delivered in respect of Ramadan, that all of your parts of your body should remain abstained from the disobeying God. All of the parts of your body. Fasting is not of only stomach. This is concerned with all body. Eyes should fast, ears should fast, hands should fast, feet should fast, everything. Even your mind should remain abstained from all such thinking which is not proper and which is disliked by God and Prophet. So, developing this consciousness and applying it on all parts of your body, in all parts of your life, all parts of your business and your activities, in every respect. Well, there was a businessman, you are telling me, and he was offering prayer very regularly, a very pious person. But he told me when I do business, he told something which was against Sharia. I say, this is wrong. What you are doing, this is not prohibited. This is prohibited. What you are doing. He said, this is a matter of business. This is not a matter of religion. He said, this I am doing in business. Why you are bringing religion over here? Maybe he was under the thought that religion is different and business is different. Religion cannot be applied on business. This is generally...
I'm sorry, but he was not of the thought. He had conveniently created that thought. Because I think from childhood we are told that Islam applies to everything. Anybody who did that is a very convenient...
Yeah, many people you will find. They say this is a matter of religion.
Okay, I need to end this, but I would like to request another session with you. And what I would like to talk about is exactly what Lama Sahib said just now, that we do not think that laws of the state are really laws of the religion. Breaking a law, if I do not agree with it, is perfectly all right. Any law, be it a traffic, be it civic ethic, be it anything, business, life. I feel if I think this is not right, then the government is wrong and I can break the law. It's a convenient. Secondly, what I'd like to talk about is enforcement of law. We say that law, if not enforced, it's my excuse not to obey it. Thirdly, we say we imitate law. So if a government officer breaks a law, as you were talking earlier, that is my right, and it is okay for me to break the law because he's breaking the law. So what would you say is my responsibility as a true Muslim? And then I would also like, at some point, the discussion to go, why the world I'm scared of saying, I don't want to offend people, they have more characteristics of a Muslim than I do. I need to end this, but for the next session, we'd like to do this. Thank you very much for staying with us. Hope your Ramadan is going well. Please remember all of us in our prayers. Until next time, good night.